Marvel. Spoilers. Hawkeye, Disney Plus show.
Hmm.
Um,
Here we
episodes
go.
1 through 3.
Hmm.
Do you have any sort of background with Hawkeye other than the MCU or any of these characters or anything like
Nope.
that?
Nope.
Okay.
Came into it completely fresh. Had not read anything, seen anything. Nothing. I mean, other than obviously the MCU.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on Hawkeye as a character as portrayed in the MCU?
You mean like
Like, I mean,
overall or
has he been a value to the films? If you like Jeremy
sure,
Renner's portrayal, do you think like
sure.
he fits with the Avengers? This is, like how have they done with this character? Do you care about him? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Natasha Romanoff, being the only two like true non-superhero superheroes. I mean, I know like Tony Stark is human also, but like he built himself a super suit so he can play with like the real big boys. Um, so having our two more like human characters, I've always thought that they did well as a pairing, like bouncing off each other. Um, More than I thought like Hawkeye himself related to the other Avengers. And sometimes I feel like there was a lot more focus on how Black Widow interacted because she was more solo, so it was easier to like send her off to do other like random stuff. But then also because there's like so few women, they were like, "Hey, let's have some like female energy." Well, by default, you're basically going to be adding Black Widow as a sidekick or like side character or an appearance in almost every movie then. So I certainly feel like Hawkeye got the short end of the stick there, where like if you were going to pick one of like the human Avengers, you were always gonna sort of like by default be picking Black Widow. Um,
Okay.
so I felt not terribly disappointed, but just sort of like, oh, well, I never really get to like care about Hawkeye then, I guess. I mean, he's
Mm,
fine when he's there. Um, but it's, I don't miss him when he's not. And so this show was fun to be like, okay, I finally am gonna sit down and like figure out if I like Hawkeye and if I like Jeremy
sure.
Renner's portrayal of him.
Sure. Um, Real quick, Renato is in the chat. Thanks for jumping
Hey.
in, checking us out on a Monday. Yes, this is a
It's
fresh cut. Thanks for
very Jeremy
noticing.
Renner of you, actually.
Is it?
See, like the show, yeah. Not like
Yeah.
spoiler. When we see him at like Infinity War and Endgame.
Mm,
That's a very, very
yeah.
distinctive hairdo. So
Yes, that's right.
this feels more like Hawkeye show hairdo.
Yeah, I suppose unintentional. Um, so yeah, we're gonna be, spoiler about Marvel stuff in general, I suppose. So Renato, if you haven't seen the first 3 Hawkeye episodes on Disney Plus, be careful. um, yeah, I agree with the like sentiment that we haven't had the chance to care about him that
Mhm.
much. And like you say, the kind of back and forth between him and Black Widow, I think they needed more of that. And I
I
really think
agree.
that I still think that Black Widow is mostly the most underused, poorly utilized character in the Avengers. And it really would have done Black Widow and Hawkeye well to have their own show previously.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's something I would have liked to see um a lot, I think. So, whereas now Black Widow just got 1 movie and is
Mhm.
done. I mean, we'll see what happens with Hawkeye here, but
Right.
I'm
Yeah, this
appreciating this look at his character.
this could be a Loki, or obviously it could be a WandaVision. Like, Disney obviously has shown they're gonna do both, kind of depending on what their
Yeah,
overall plan is.
one-offs
And
or
yeah,
mhm.
yeah, and who knows where this will fit. Um, kind of in the whole like multiverse arc that they're building.
Right. Um, so I I've been really enjoying this show so far. Like, what's your initial impressions?
Yeah, I felt funnily enough like I did when I watched Wheel of Time. I felt like the episodes got better. Not that episode 1
Okay.
wasn't good and there wasn't like moments, but I felt a little disjointed in the first episode, and I felt like there was some
Okay.
like ham-handed exposition, especially in regards to the new character we're introduced to, Kate Bishop, and her
Hmm.
backstory and her like growing up and like how is she such a good archer and I win all the fighting championships because I want to be just like an Avenger. It was a little like
Mm.
okay, we could have like maybe smoothed that out a little bit. Um, but I felt like it is hard to do exposition and hard to do it well, so, give you a pass for the first episode, and then I felt like things really got picking up in 2 and 3.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I disagree with the
Sure.
first episode. I think that I appreciated getting. Firstly, it's Hawkeye. Okay, so they kind of are knowingly everybody's recognizing the other heroes or whatever. Like he's the secondary, but the thing is, to one person, I mean, and
Mhm.
presumably to others then as well. To one kid, Hawkeye is the hero.
Yeah,
Hawkeye is her idol. She's the one that, and so it'd be the thing, oh, you're my favorite. Oh, sure, kind of thing. But he actually is. And I really like that. It's showing how these heroes can inspire. And then going through all those things was nice because then I don't have to sit as much in disbelief as she's fighting gangsters and stuff and be like,
totally.
okay, where did I know
Yeah,
now where you're.
yeah, no, I completely I get it. Like, I liked the story that they were telling, I just felt in the first episode it wasn't smoothly executed.
Hmm.
So I loved, like, the opening scene, like, bringing us all the way back to initial Avengers attack on New York. That was fun to have that throwback and, like, see some of those scenes again. And like you said, it was fun that, like, somebody looked out and was like, "That guy is the cool one,"
Yeah,
and
right.
got inspired. I just felt like the transition was just, like, a little bit heavy. Um
Sure.
so yeah, so my critique was all about execution, whereas like I feel like the story itself was good. It was there. It was just like I felt a little like I see that you're telling a story in a TV show right now. Uh,
Okay.
but I don't think I can not talk about episode 1 and not talk about the hot garbage dumpster fire Rogers the musical because that was everything. It was so I love that like somebody took the time to write out terrible lyrics, but, like, fabulous score to us. It's so exactly perfect about, like, what I imagine, a
They
superhero
would
musical
do.
would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I absolutely could see this being, like, a real thing, and they're like, "Oh, it's the big, like, rousing, fight song, and we're gonna save the day." Oh, it was so bad. It was amazing, and I love how, like, Jeremy Renner's in the audience like, "The fuck is Ant-Man doing here?" Like, "Wasn't
Yeah.
there." Like,
Yep.
loser just horning in.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
I
everything I
uh
wanted it to
I
be.
agree. I agree. And I like the I I'll use that to lead into Jeremy Renner, I think, has been really brought a weight and a seriousness to this show.
Yeah.
Like a subtlety that's really nice. I really appreciate, like, I felt his sort of PTSD almost,
Mhm.
like, tuning everything out or, turning off his hearing aid, in fact, that the fact that he has the hearing aid,
Love that.
um, and then just the,
So real.
you know, yeah, and being in the rest, he's like, he's seeing this serious thing that was a big deal for him being made into a joke. And he's in the restroom and someone was bothering for a selfie. And I bought those moments. And
Yes.
consistently through these 3 episodes, we've had these heartfelt moments, that I think Jeremy Renner has really nailed and made me
Mhm.
care more for the character, for sure.
I
So
I absolutely agree with that assessment. I think Jeremy Renner's finally getting his time to shine. Um, and it is because of these more human moments. Like, it's really hard to have these and balance them in a believable way when you have characters like Thor and the Hulk who are just like, I don't really have this kind of shit. Like I'm pretty invulnerable. I'm probably never going to need a
Mhm,
hearing aid. Even Thor's eye when it gets ripped out, he just sort of like pops one in and he's like, "I'm cool. I'm good to go." You know, you can't really
mhm.
play these these very like simple human interactions against those very well. It's very hard to like tonally shift those. And I think that's where Jeremy Renner gets to shine here. And unfortunately, there's just, you know, there wasn't too much possibility for that in the other movies.
Yep. I think that's why it's important that, that's why people miss the Netflix stuff,
Yeah.
because it's important to not have these all samey feeling films, formulaic one thing after another. There's a lot of routes you can take with different
Hmm.
characters, and different characters will be suited for different things. You don't always have to have this like giant battle where everybody's like gets a blip here and there of doing
Hmm.
something. It's that's again why Black Widow was wasted. How many covert missions could we have seen Black Widow on? You
Right.
know, and same with Hawkeye here. So, yeah, I'm happy. There's a different kind of story being told here with different threats, and he gets the time to have some focus here. Um,
Yeah. That being said, I do like the some of the kind of almost shout outs to Black Widow. Um,
mm,
like when he goes shopping after the big fight at the with Kate Bishop against like the tracksuit mafia, and they're just like buying like band-aids and rubbing
yep.
alcohol because they're injured because they're people,
Hmm.
and of course like Black Widow had a whole scene in that movie where they were just like buying aspirin and they're like, God, Thor doesn't have to buy aspirin. It's
Hmm.
moments like that that's like, yeah, way to like nail that believability. Way to
Yep.
carry that through.
Yep. I want to mention that Renato said he's really enjoying the Christmas setting, and
Yeah.
I am too. What do
Yep.
you think about that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great element, not only obviously because we're in the midst of the holiday season in real time,
Hmm.
but also because it's another human element for Hawkeye. He's working on getting this thing wrapped up because he wants to go home to his family for Christmas. And
Yep.
they're all like, "Oh, well, if you don't make it, it's okay." And they're all sad. And it's very like, yeah, it sounds so fun to be a superhero, doesn't it? Well, sometimes being a superhero means you disappoint your family and the people that you love.
Yep.
And it's a very real motivator for him that he doesn't want to do that all the time anymore. So I think
Yep.
I think it's another great, very real element to the story.
Yep.
As well as, just being fun that it's the holidays.
Yeah. I like the some of the Christmas music added in. I
Mhm.
like with that family dynamic that his wife is seeming so understanding.
Yeah.
But obviously it's tough for the kids.
Right.
Um, so I think that's well done. One of the best scenes in the show so far was the phone call,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know. And again, Jeremy Renner's performance selling me.
Mhm.
So
I have to say, I
yeah.
thought that actually that was one of my favorite moments of chemistry between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld was them working
Mm,
together to do that phone call. I thought
mhm.
that they really played off each other well. I mean, obviously he was carrying a lot more of the emotional load, but I still felt like this is a good moment for them.
Right. Yep. So we could talk about some of the episodes specifically a little bit, I guess. So you already said you didn't like the exposition so
Mhm.
much. in the first one, and you brought up the musical and stuff.
Mhm.
Obviously, one thing I was finding myself kind of was going through was, okay, maybe you should like, do you need the suit that much? Um, I guess I just said go through episodes specifically. I'm jumping ahead here.
No, it's
Um,
okay.
but yeah, just thinking about motivations and how this goes or whatever. And I think they're making it make sense at this point. Do you feel everybody's motivations are in line and with where they need to be
Ye
going and what they're doing?
I mean, yeah, so far as we know, what
Hmm.
characters' motivations are. Um, I mean, obviously, we have our main gal, Kate Bishop, who just like wants to be a superhero and like that's all she wants to do. And she just looks up to Hawkeye so much and then just sort of like stumbles her way into this whole like plot that's going on with these people tracking down the Ronin.
Yep.
She accidentally becomes the Ronin, and has the suit and stuff, and then now is like trying to figure out what's going on with that. What's also going on with her mom's shady fiance Jack here in the picture for those who are watching. So yeah, so she's got
Shady? Is he shady? I don't know.
shady at least like outwardly portray like we're deliberately
Shady
meant
as
to
hell.
be
Yeah. He is a
we're
creep.
deliberately leading down this road of like shade with Jack.
Hmm.
Okay, I just have to say it because he's on the screen. Did he not give you like really hard Max Lord vibes from Wonder Woman 1984? I
I saw
honestly,
you.
for like a half second before I remembered who was cast, was like, Pedro Pascal, what are you doing? And then I was like, no, 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 no. Because he was in that like dim light. And just for a second, I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, no, I get it. It's not him.
Yeah, I guess
Just
I
like
mean they're
smooth
both
talking, like the way
sure.
he was dressed was sort of like I know it's like 2021, but he's almost like some 80s pimp a little bit in there with like the mustache and the turtlenecks. I don't know. It just
Hmm.
gave me a vibe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting how he handles Kate and that relationship and everything. He
Mm,
does the kind of act where it's um I'm not bothered by anything,
mhm.
never flustered, we just kind of being open about this, saying I read a parenting book or whatever kind of thing, and accepting a challenge to a duel, little fencing
Yep.
match, all that kind of thing. So I like he's an interesting character, but how her mom cannot see that he's shady AF is
Her
bewildering, but that potentially suggests um more going on in the background because we saw early on, I think in the first episode, where
Yeah.
Kate's like, was his dad threatening you, or or what's going on
Mhm.
here? So
Yeah, I hope so because right now her mom is really coming off just kind of like ditzy blonde, like I trust everybody despite running a security company and, being an awesome lady boss. But this guy who's given me like 20 red flags, nope, totally fine. Um, and she can't see that her daughter clearly is on like a journey of self-discovery and does not just want to like put her head down and work at Bishop Security for the rest of her life and like look up one day and find herself happy. I just have to say that was like about the worst advice I've ever heard. That was
yeah.
some shitty momming right there. Like, put your head down, do your
Yeah.
job, and one day you'll look up and be happy. Like, what? Like
Yeah.
I have a 9-month-old daughter. I've been doing this for like 9 months, and I already know that's terrible parenting advice. So, I mean, at
Yeah,
least I
she's
felt
a
good.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, her mother is a interesting character. It seems like I don't know if she's supposed to be the realist, I guess, because
Mhm.
when we see Kate as a child with her father there, yet there's kind of these disagreements, and I don't remember what exactly was going on, but it seemed to be kind of the father wanting to follow a
Money.
passion or something like that,
Yeah.
and and the wife
Throwing
being a little
money at a
more like, hey,
passion. Yeah.
yeah,
Which, I
so
mean, felt really logical when she talks about, I haven't always come from money. Well, people who don't
yeah,
come from money, when they do get it, tend to be like, I'm not just like gonna throw it at some passion project. I'm gonna, be practical about it. So
Hmm.
she felt really real there, and then just sort of like took a hard turn into, having her blinders on and being like, I can't really see what's going on around me. So,
Right. Yep. Yeah. No, I hope we get more
mhm,
with that story, what's happening there. If there's some shady dealings in the back, maybe they got
mhm.
something on her, blackmail,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
It would
or just poor choices. So,
Yeah, it would certainly make sense and give her an interesting motivation, which I'm feeling like she's lacking a little right now.
yep. I enjoyed the fight scene pretty well in the first
Mhm.
one, like being down in the cellar and stuff. I was happy that the wine bottles didn't all just break like, cheap whatever, in every
Yep.
Western ever smash,
Yep.
they're actually thunking and knocking people out. So that was good.
Yeah, I
Um,
enjoyed the whole like black market auction setup. Um,
mhm,
as a way for somebody to get their hands on a super suit. Um, it felt really sloppy of Hawkeye to just like not know where that was, or just like sort of be
mm.
like letting it, get out there in some fashion and not having it himself
Yeah, did they say
somewhere.
how that happened?
No, I
Or
mean they say that they looted the Avengers compound.
oh,
Um,
that's right.
but that
Okay.
feels really weird for Hawkeye to just like, I don't know, for something like so personal and so like I did so much terrible shit in this suit. I'm just gonna like leave it
Yeah, you think you
in
just
somebody
burn it,
else's
right?
hands. Like it's do something, destroy it in some fashion.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that felt a little weird, but like, all right, I can sort of buy that. I can sort of accept that to drive the plot for this. Um, and she obviously clearly needs, like, Kate Bishop clearly wants a super suit and like to put one on and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So at least there wasn't
Yeah.
some sort of like, you know, awkward making the suit montage.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's those suit moments are fun. The
Mhm.
like Kate trying to update his look, marketing or image is your problem, that kind of thing. I like all those moments.
Yeah.
And then she draws a little thing and it's kind of like a classic Hawkman outfit from the
Yeah.
comics. So that's
I did
nice.
love the my wife would never let me wear that. My wife would divorce me instantly. Like, it was pretty
Yep.
great.
Yeah, with the suit, I don't know. It does seem weird he wouldn't burn it or something like that, but maybe they should just pull a Black Widow now and somehow decide that he actually, as Ronin, didn't kill anyone ever.
What do you mean?
In Black Widow, her whole big problem is dealing with
Oh, oh,
the
oh,
terrible
I
things
see,
she's
I
done in
see,
her
I see, I
past.
see, I see, I
And
see.
instead
Yeah,
they
yeah.
reverse it. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, you didn't do this. You
yeah,
messed this person up or whatever, but oh,
yeah, but you're
oof, I'm
fine,
actually
it's
not a
okay.
terrible person. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so again, I like that with this character that he went down a path that was darker, thought he needed to I could have seen a Netflix show about this. A hero that's kind of, I need to deal with these gangs. They're getting out of hand, and he does so, and he ends up killing a bunch of them. And
Yeah.
now, like, kind of coming uh, clean and trying to, realizing that's not the right choice and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So it's something he has to struggle with.
Yeah, it's very, like, not funny Deadpool. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, the opening of Deadpool is so much what I think of, or Deadpool 2, excuse me, when I think of, like, the Ronin and that
Mm,
whole, like, sequence of events, in his time of life where he was just like, "You know what? F it, like, my family is gone in the snap, I have nothing,
yep.
all these other people are gone, like, why not just go out and take out some bad guys, and that's what I'll do until, I die."
Yep. Right. Renato says, "Is that Jon Snow in the picture?" Yeah, it does have a little Jon Snow vibe going there.
He does, yeah.
So,
Like, trashy Jon Snow.
so I don't know if it's the best time to talk about it, but I definitely
Sure.
wanted to talk about it because we're introduced to Okay, that's episode 3. I'm gonna wait just because
Okay.
Renato's here and he has only seen the first half of the West. I'm gonna wait to talk about it because it's in episode
Yeah.
3 before we get like extra spoiler for what's to come in the MCU and that kind of thing.
Excellent.
If people have not seen some other things. Um, okay, so episode 2 yet we have yeah, her place gets burnt, dealing with
Hmm.
the gang. Let's see what else happened in that one.
Which I
I'm
do just have to say, like, there were again here in episode 2, there were a little like slippery, slidey things that I felt about storytelling.
okay.
When Hawkeye goes back to her apartment. Apologize. I'm gonna use Clint, Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner like
Yeah,
super
yeah, yeah, yeah,
interchangeably.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yep.
apologies to anybody. I can't keep it consistent. So he goes back to Kate Bishop's apartment and just like in front of onlookers grabs a fireman's uniform and nobody says anything. And I was just sort of like, okay, all right, like that's
But
I mean, maybe they thought he was like coming on duty and grabbing a suit, but I was a little like interesting. And then he comes back out, noticing that the suit is already gone, and comes out to like a fire truck, which is paid via taxes and is like considered, like a government vehicle or like usually like a city property kind of vehicle. And it has a LARPing bumper sticker in the window. And I was really like, ooh, can you really do that? Like, I don't
I bet
know.
so. Yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, can you imagine like a LARPing bumper sticker on like the cruiser, a police cruiser or something? I don't know that like that would happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I loved the whole LARPing side story. It was
Mhm.
brilliant and wonderful and hilariously executed. So much fun. Some more of like Clint's, I'm lighthearted, but I'm also keeping it real. Like we're not descending into too much slapstick here. But yeah, it felt a little like that's convenient that he would see that LARPing sticker, go look it up, and then the guy who basically stole something from a fire posts about it on social media
Yeah,
and like doesn't think
yeah.
he's gonna get fired. Like,
So
I don't know.
all of these things, I understand your logical mind bringing them up,
I know,
but
I know.
I think
Maybe I
that
need to
I
press
think
pause on that.
well, I think that one, people are very hard pressed to question. So if
Sure.
you go someplace and you act with authority, I mean, it's how
Yeah.
people go in and you're wearing something that looks formal and you go and you act like you belong there. People don't say anything. And even if they do, if say an onlooker sees this happen, they're gonna like nudge their buddy and say like, "Isn't that weird?" or whatever, and then
Yeah,
tell
and
no
then
one
not really do anything. Yeah.
and not
I
say
suppose you're
a
right on that.
thing. So I think that it's we see Bond do this plenty of times. Like he goes someplace
Oh
and
yeah.
sneaks through these different doors.
Just, like,
You
grabs
look,
one suit jacket
yep,
or one hat, and
yep,
he's like, "Cool, I'm here now."
yep. Act with confidence, look like you belong, and people don't say anything. And then the sticker, yeah, that it's maybe. Renato seems to think you can. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you have experience with this, Renato? But yeah, I could see maybe, but it's a small sticker. It's not like a big thing,
Yeah, right, it's
I
not
don't
like a
know. But
bumper
yeah.
sticker, or like, covering the
Yeah.
hose or anything, but it was still just sort of like a moment that I was like, "Ooh, that could be a slippery
And
slope."
and then the other thing, how many criminals have been caught? Now, I'm not saying this guy's a criminal, though kind of.
I mean, he
What
is
I mean,
though.
I
He
mean, how many
definitely
criminals have
steals
been
something
caught?
from a fire that he goes to put
Yeah.
out and then is
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
"Just straight up stole
They
this."
People post this stuff. People do violent things and post it and think no one will know
Yeah,
who it is or whatever. Or I mean, oh, I got this thing, and they just stole a TV from someplace and then they get,
busted,
stupid,
yeah.
you know.
Well, then I wanna
So,
see a follow-up. Hawkeye, has to go into the police station for some reason and sees that guy behind bars because he stole the suit
yep,
from a fire. Oh,
yep.
man. Yeah,
We
that
have
that one was tough
confirmation.
for me.
Renato says, my buddy's a firefighter. Stickers don't last long because of weather and water, but yeah. So,
Okay. Okay. All right.
all right.
So I
Thank you very
stand
much.
corrected. I suppose though, I mean something like LARPing, is maybe innocuous enough. I suppose like other things like maybe political stickers of either
Sure.
any
Yeah.
persuasion, you might be like, "Oh, no."
Right.
Because that's what I was
Yep.
thinking of. That's what most people have is like their bumper stickers.
Sure.
Um so I was just like, "Oh, random." But
I saw a bumper sticker the other day that I absolutely loved. It said, baby not on board. Feel free to run into me.
I love
And
that.
it
Even though I
just,
have a baby, I so hate those, like,
I
baby on
do. I
board.
do
I
too.
really
Yes.
do. I don't know why, but it's, like, visceral. I hate it.
hmm It's like, what? What?
So?
I was going to, yeah, I was going to crash into you before. I understand the idea. Okay, I'm gonna be extra cautious, but I already really don't want to crash into you.
Right,
I don't want
exactly. I
to,
don't
you
spend my
know.
time being like, "It'd be real fun today."
hmm
Just
And
swerving all
well-adjusted
over.
people generally don't like rage and like yeah, flip people off all the time anyways.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe some
Yeah.
people have, that's how they got to get it out, but you
Right.
know,
Well, and who knows if a baby on board sticker would even deter somebody at that point.
right, exactly. The baby's not
But
going to see your middle finger.
right, right. Even if they
So
do,
all
they don't
right,
know.
right, yeah, yep. um okay, so episode 3, we get things get really going in this. I should
Mhm.
say we had the confrontation, the sword fight with Kate and her new soon to be father-in-law. It seems like I liked
Yeah.
that or whatever. But then yeah, things get going. Kate doesn't want to let this go. She wants to be involved, and I liked episode 3 quite a lot, except we're getting into these other scenarios again where I feel like if people did just talk and were just a little more honest, could
Mhm.
get out of this stuff. You know, Hawkeye is sitting there and he's like, he just be like, look, you know, I'm an Avenger. We have intelligence that he is dead, and definitely she, if you can tell anything, is not who you were looking for. Now
Right.
maybe he is still out there, but it's not her. It's not
Right.
her. So
Right.
like, what are you doing? Leave us alone.
Right. And I mean, like I totally agree with you. Being all like cagey about like, oh, it's super dead. I was there. I
Yeah.
saw it. Like nobody believes that. Like and
Right.
like um saying like Natasha Romanoff, the another person who's dead was there. It's like, yeah, that sounds really convenient. Side note, I do have to say I love the continued Black Widow references. Like I talked about earlier, the shopping, the end of episode 2. Oh, I'm gonna go get myself caught. Classic Natasha move. Here, he brings her up again. His kids talk about, it's okay to talk
Yep.
about her. She was your best friend. I'm really hoping it's setting up a Yelena Clint showdown. Like the fact that they're like continuously like solidly peppering
Interesting.
Black Widow references in here, I'm really hoping that's like a deliberate, you
Hmm.
know, like setup because we got it hinted at the end of Black Widow. Side note. Um so yeah, so I feel like his story
Oh, I
about
see.
like the
That's
Ron
right.
yeah. So I feel like his story about the Ronin dying was like really like pathetic. I got where he was going, where he was like trying to like, she's obviously not the Ronin. If you just look at her, I feel like anybody could tell that. But it's too late at this point. Like she's there, she sees them, she's a part of it, and they're just like, well, she's seen my face. Like, what if she just runs to the cops? Like, we're not just
Sure.
gonna be like, bye.
But yeah, could be more obvious that that's the mentality of the gang then, because
Totally,
how much
yeah.
is it to say, I was at a black market auction that I wasn't
Right.
supposed to be at, and they were auctioning off this suit. Now, if Ronan's still alive, I don't know why he wouldn't have his suit anymore, but there it
Right.
was. Like,
Well, and they clearly know something about this auction because they
right.
popped up when it was going on sale and they were trying to go find the Ronin. Do you know what I mean? So they like
Yeah.
clearly had to know the suit was
She was
around
on
to
sale
follow it.
and hoping that
Yeah.
he would show up or something to buy it or, to
Right.
obtain it.
So I feel like knowing that, it sort of has to be plausible that she's just because she put it on, she's not the Ronin.
Right.
Like the suit was free floating out there. Anybody could have put it on.
Yep. Right. Yep. Look at this. Is it tailored for my body? No. All
Clearly not.
right. Did I
I
wear
did
this?
quite enjoy that. Like in some of the scenes where like the pants were clearly like 3 sizes too big for her and I was like, "Good. I'm glad you like got that detail." I mean, sure the mask stayed on, that's great, whatever. It even though it's not
Mhm.
built for her, that's fine. But I like that everything else was clearly like baggy and like the hood was getting in her eyes and yeah,
Yep.
good
Yep.
attention to detail.
Well, I freaked out at this episode because I don't know. I was thinking that this reveal or whatever would come later. I had heard rumors earlier that maybe Echo would
Oh yeah.
show up
Mhm.
in this show, and I've read the comics where Echo first appeared. I like
Mhm.
that character quite a bit. I think she's really cool. Um, so as soon as we had the woman staying there, like feeling the sound and stuff, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my god, this is her! This is her!" And I think they did a great job casting at this point.
Mhm.
The look is spot on.
Yeah.
It's a little interesting that her backstory is quite different from the
Sure.
comics. Um,
That
it
part you're gonna have
and
to fill me in on.
Yeah, so in the comics, she so Echo's father works with Kingpin. He is
Mhm.
one of the but what happens is Kingpin gets tired of her dad, who they call he has a nickname, crazy like crazy bull or something like that.
Okay.
Um and he is becomes kind of a liability. And so the Kingpin kills him.
What is his like job?
I don't know. He's a gang member for the
Okay.
Kingpin, but like, higher up and does I don't know what he all does for him. Probably
Okay.
assassination. Crazy Horse, yes. Thanks, Alan.
Okay.
Um and he kills him with his own gun, like
Mm.
Crazy Horse's own gun.
Mm.
Well, Kingpin ends up becoming like a new father to Echo.
Yeah.
And it's like and so she's always
Ye
like scarred by her father's death, and he tells her that it's Daredevil that killed her
I
father,
see.
not him.
Okay. Okay.
So in this, obviously, we see that it's Ronin
Yep.
that breaks in, it's killing these gangs,
Maybe.
and I mean, I guess it could be they could
There's always
weave something else in there.
until you like get like the shot of Jeremy Renner's face up in there, there's
Sure.
always an element of maybe.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
That could be
maybe it's so
his
either way.
Black Widow take back, you know what I
Yes,
mean? Like, she
yeah,
thinks it's him and
yeah.
just kidding, it's not.
Well, and that would preserve the setup anyways.
Right, right.
like
That would make more
we're
sense.
setting a target on Ronin, so you can be mad at this Ronin figure that is causing our gang's problem. He's causing problems for my people here.
Right.
So we're gonna put a
It's very,
target on.
it's very, terrible Daredevil movie, you know, when they send Electra King after Daredevil for the death of her father instead of after Bullseye. And you're like, "Oof,
Mm,
oof." Like,
I
the redirect, you know what I mean?
yeah, yep. I didn't remember that. I mean, when did you watch that movie last?
A
Daredevil, Ben
while.
Affleck,
I think one of those scenes, like, came on like, the movie was playing for some reason recently, and I just sort of, like, watched a couple minutes of it to remind myself, like, "Oh god, yeah, this is so bad." Um,
Yep,
so thankful that we have Charlie Cox now and his whole Daredevil portrayal, but yeah,
yep.
same kinda deal.
So this is definitely like uh, love hate, but I'm being a little pickier because I care about this
Yeah.
part more. Um, so excited that it's Echo, that she's there. I think I have a good cast for it. Excited that that's got to be Kingpin that like reaches his hand in shot
Mm.
to
I know. I was
to
like, I
like
so
say,
I
you know,
the only piece of her backstory. I mean, I knew generally like the character of Echo, but the only piece of her backstory I knew was like Kingpin. Was a surrogate father figure.
yeah,
Um,
right. Yep.
so I was hoping for a glimpse,
Yep.
and sort of maybe got it. Sort of
Yeah,
maybe
I
got
mean, if it had been a white cuff, it would have been two giveaway.
it.
So it
Yeah,
was a
right.
black suit. So that was awesome. And my concern, I guess, at this point is
Hmm.
one, I think is interesting that she needs a translator. In the comics, she does not need a translator. She reads lips impeccably. So, obviously if someone's talking to her from behind, she can't tell what's going on.
Hmm.
But otherwise she's in no need of a translator. Now, okay, we're getting to see her. There's going to be an Echo show that has been announced.
Yep.
So it, growth, room for improvement, right?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. That's where that goes.
Yeah. I thought maybe again it was like expediency here, just to like sort of like keep it snappy, moving along. You know.
Yeah. Instead of like trying to explain someone's basically superpower, like, whoa, how
Right.
can how are you that,
Right. And maybe
um,
that's coming at a later time.
yep. And then the issue is the gang she's running that her father did run was it's kind of silly at this point.
Yeah.
So it's fun, but it's kind of silly. And if we're to the reason Kingpin is effective, and he's only effective if you really buy that anyone that's around you could be working for him. You need to be
Hmm.
terrified of him, not just like his stature and stuff, but of the power he wields. And if
Yep.
you're not afraid of the gangsters or whoever coming after you, if they're not serious, that diminishes the threat that he is as well.
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's my biggest concern right now is that
Hmm.
I am very excited for what I think will be a Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin reveal during
Hmm.
this season.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped for that, but I do need to see some more seriousness from some of the criminal underworld that works for him. So
I agree. They're very like caricature right now of
yeah.
like gang members. And they're very non-threatening. They're very silly. Like the whole
Hmm.
on the one hand, like the whole dialogue in the beginning of episode 3 between Haley Steinfeld and nameless gang member number whatever,
Yeah.
about like the presence and the thing with his girlfriend.
Hmm.
Like it's funny,
Yeah. The concert.
but it
Right. Yep.
but it's also like, oh. And then like the like kind of lower down gang member, lead. Um I have no idea who he is. Again, nameless, henchman number 1. When he comes up and he's like, maybe I'll, rip out your throat. Like the delivery was just like, I don't even believe you. And then when he
Sure.
was like, or maybe she'll do it. That is like one of my biggest pet peeve lines. Whenever anybody says something like, well, you'll answer to him, or she's on her way. You know what I mean? Like there's just some sort of weird like slowdown when they're being like ambiguous and it's supposed to sound threatening,
Sure.
and it ends up sounding completely ridiculous because it's like,
Yep.
who? Like,
I know
why
what
do
you
I
mean.
care?
Yeah.
Why would I be scared of she? Now, if you told me like, or maybe Kingpin's on his way and he's gonna do it, like, shit, okay, that's like a legitimate person that I should probably be afraid of. Like, I don't know. It's one of my
Well,
biggest pet peeves, and the delivery here was so like very like over dramatic that it's everything that's wrong with setting up a line that way.
what makes changes that line from being like ugh to good is when another person that's in the know is now takes that seriously. So it's kind
Right.
of like, you get someone saying, like he himself is coming tonight. And then
Mhm.
everybody else freaks out.
Right.
Everybody else takes it really seriously now. Like, what are you talking about? He's on his way, and like, it's kind of like the emperor's coming. You know,
Right.
it's not like, well, just wait till the emperor gets there, gets here, then you'll
Right.
be in trouble. But it's like, yeah, the emperor is coming.
Right.
What? I didn't know this. Like, and then you've never met at that point in Star Wars. You never
Right.
met the emperor. So why is this guy so terrified? Aren't you terrified of Darth Vader? You mean you're more terrified of someone than Darth Vader? So it's
Right.
that kind of dynamic that changes the situation.
Well, and I completely agree with that. I think there's like three elements to that. One, like you say, we've already met a terrifying character who then says, just wait until blah.
Hmm.
Like Darth Vader. He's already impressively terrifying and he's like got a higher up. Shit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, as an audience member,
Yeah.
like I am afraid of that. Henchman number one here is not very terrifying. So when he like says something,
Yeah.
you're like, how much scarier could it be? Two, like you said, somebody has to react. Neither Clint nor Kate like are very scared or
Yeah.
terrified, which, it just doesn't lend itself to like now we as the audience member should be terrified.
Yep.
Three, I think those lines can also be effective when somebody else, like the captive, is like, "Oh, you mean the emperor's coming?" And then like, somebody like Darth Vader said, "Yeah, he's
Hmm.
coming." You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing, you've already referenced like sorry to block the camera. You've already referenced like a named character who somebody is clearly like, "Oh shit," about. And then when you
Hmm.
just deliver that, sort of vague like, you know, I promise he's coming or whatever, it sounds more terrifying because somebody else has already said it. So
Yep.
none of those things really happened here. And so like Echo's entrance fell flat in terms of
Yep.
being scary.
Yep.
Now, was her whole
Right.
backstory set up? Like, I loved the way that was done. I love the, intro that we got to her. And I like the actress and I like her portrayal. But her big, like, reveal moment was a little underwhelming.
Yep. And her dad from Westworld. That was fun.
Yes. Yes, that was
Um,
fun. That was a good,
so
good throwback.
and then I enjoyed her actions, so like when everybody else is kind of a joke, her action sequence I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
Kind of the fight with Hawkeye, I thought that was pretty well done. Um
Yeah, it's about
so
time you had a
because
challenge.
she's right. She is presenting a more serious tone and a more threatening kind of demeanor, but her group, she's got to whip it into shape. I mean,
Yeah.
in Daredevil, like the Russian mob people, they show their backstory. They're like put in a Russian prison, and the guy's going to his dead cellmate and like ripping out a rib to use as a shank. Like this
Mhm.
hardcore guy that's ready to.
Right.
He means business. And these
Yep.
guys are kind of buffoons. So, but
Right, and I mean, I get
we'll see
that,
what
like,
happens with
the
them.
the rating is different here, but you could still make them more intimidating without,
Yeah.
yanking out somebody's rib.
Yep. Because I've generally liked so far the balance, and again, I put this on Jeremy Renner mostly, but
Yeah.
I've liked the balance of tone. It felt like there's this holiday spirit joy that's involved. There's some comedic elements, but it's always brought back down to give weight by something Jeremy Renner is doing with
Mhm.
the character, and so that's
Agreed.
managed to balance the tone of this show well, where I think
Mhm.
others have missed the mark. Whether it's with Loki making him
Cough, Winter
him way
Soldier.
too goofy, or Winter Soldier that was just all over the place. So yeah. Um, what else do we have to say? I mean, we're halfway done now, right? It's a shorter one, so we get
Yeah.
6 episodes total. Um,
Yeah, I kinda dig it. I mean, they've given us a clock on the show. In episode 2, they say, we still have 5 days until Christmas. So I
right.
like that they're keeping it, like, short and tight. Clearly, on Christmas or Christmas Eve or something, will be our finale, our penultimate episode. And it would feel silly if it was like 8 episodes, or like more trying to smash in like 5 days worth of
Sure.
stuff. It would be like a 24 kind of deal where you're like, "Oh my god, how
Oh,
much can
yeah.
happen in a
Yeah.
day?" You
Just
know?
put the clock on the screen.
Right. So while I'm sad because I think this is a really great vehicle for Jeremy Renner. I mean, we've sung his praises so much tonight, and I think he deserves it. I think it's good that they're keeping it tight. Like I said, if they're gonna say out loud, we have 5 days, good.
Yep.
Then, handle your business.
Yep. Yeah, I hope that I hope it finishes out strong. I hope that
Hmm.
well, I guess I won't say whether I hope there's another season until we see how this wraps up and what
Sure.
happens there and stuff. But I want to get back to the Charlie Cox thing, and reason I think it's been
Hmm.
confirmed now, because I think at some point here in the next few episodes they're going to show us Kingpin, and so therefore that's like, do you wait and then like, okay, well, then suffer a barrage of questions? Well, does that mean Charlie Cox is coming back too? Does that mean he's coming back too? Like, what about the other
Right.
characters? And as opposed to saying, look, if you're watching Hawkeye and you know the story at all, you can see what's happening here. And to avoid the questions later, we're gonna say Charlie Cox. He's our Daredevil,
Sure.
and I think he will make an appearance in something else coming up very soon. So
Seriously.
yeah,
Hope so.
yep.
I mean, if it's this great, I love it. I mean, obviously would fit right in. Um, if it's something else, great too. More Charlie Cox's Daredevil, please.
All right. Did you ever finish season 3 of Netflix Daredevil?
I haven't because I haven't finished some of the interim shows between um like
Okay.
Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Defenders and stuff like that. So
Okay. All right.
I feel like
Well,
I'm really trying to gear myself up for Iron Fist because I've just heard so many thumbs down things about it. So
I I think you'll be
I'm really
surprised, honestly.
okay. I mean, I didn't
Be-
I didn't think it was gonna be bad. Like when I first saw it way back when it was, being advertised and coming out, I was really excited about it. And then a lot of people were just kind of jumping on the hate train. So I really fell off and just was having a hard time gearing myself up to watch it.
the second half of the first season is
Okay.
has issues. But
Okay.
there's some really good acting, some really good drama, family drama, intriguing stuff in the first season. I think that the problem is the way they wrote um, just Iron Fist himself. The way they wrote Danny
Right.
Rand is a
Right.
problem. And that's consistent throughout season 1, basically. It starts okay, and then clearly soon it's clear that it's not okay. And then
Mhm.
they do a poor job with the action sequences.
Sure.
But season 2, and others will disagree with me, but I think generally it's liked more. And I think there's quite a lot to like in season 2.
Okay.
Um, Trinity, the actress, blanking on her name at the moment,
Carrie Ann
is in
Moss.
there. Yep. And she has some really good moments, really
Hmm.
good character stuff. Colleen Wing is consistently a good character. They have
Right.
another character they pull from the comics that I think is a fun take. It again, the way they wrote Danny Rand is the problem, but there's so much good surrounding it, and they
Yeah.
hire a new fight choreographer. The fights are way better in season 2. There's some like where he actually wears the mask and does some stuff. It's worth a watch, I think. It's for me rewatching. It's tough to get through that latter half of season 1.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right. I'll try to push myself through. That was my sticking point thus far in my Marvel, Netflix universe. I just was like, man, I was so pumped when it first came out and I was really excited and then everybody was just like it's terrible. And I
mhm.
was really excited because oh my god, I can't remember the name of the guy now. Um but he was from Game of Thrones. He's Marjorie Tyrell's brother.
Oh, Finn Jones.
Loris Tyrell. What's his real name again?
Yeah, Finn Jones, right?
Finn Jones. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So I remember like that was going to be like
It's
his
yeah.
next thing. And then it just wasn't, unfortunately.
I stand by it's not his fault.
Well,
Totally
yeah,
not
no,
his fault.
all I'm saying is like the
Yeah,
character. But it is
yeah,
pretty hard for a lot of people if you're not excited about it. If the flaw is the main character, that's tough. That's tough to
yes.
get over.
Mhm. And it's also would be hard for me watching it new, having heard all this negative stuff about it, and then now knowing that they're going to not do Danny Rand for Iron Fist. That's
Right.
been like announced that they're going to
Right.
incorporate Iron Fist at some point, but it's not going to be Danny Rand.
Right.
So then it'd be for me, it'd be kind of like I was kind of like, oh God, just all right. Not that I
Waste.
expected it to be Finn Jones because of the reception, but
Right.
um,
But
yeah,
like you got this far, man.
yeah,
I don't know. The character switch always throws me,
hmm
you know,
yep,
unless they're like just truly terrible or they've passed away. Like stick with
right,
it.
yep,
But
yep.